Hello again, continuing in our bonus series for equipment reviews. And what we're going to be talking about today is an aspect of firearms training and operational health and safety. When I first started shooting, it was mainly on indoor ranges, and it was quite normal to wear ear protection. If you didn't, it was actually quite painful. So that was the motivation to wear decent ear protection. Terry O'Neill had a habit. If he was standing behind you and you're on the firing line on the indoor range, and just as you're about to fire, he'd pull your ear defenders apart, and it'd be quite painful. That scamp. But even then, there were guys I was shooting with from a generation that remembered putting cotton wool in their ears, or even empty cartridge cases, or guys that served in the military that were issued no ear protection, even firing very, very large caliber weapons. So that was right from the start. That was something that we understood. But back then, and this was 1974, I started, we didn't use eye protection. And it really was quite a long time before the idea of using eye protection crept in. And I've tried to remember when I first started wearing them, but I can't. But I guess it must have been the influence of American instructors. But anyway, a company started advertising eye protection in the British shooting magazines. They were called Pro Optics. I sent for two sets, one day and one night, and thought that was a good idea, particularly when after about the second time I was wearing them, I got hit in the eye by a piece of fragmentation, and I realized just how important they were. It did probably save one of my eyes. So when we were doing courses, I contacted this company, and they gave me a really good discount price to buy in bulk, and I bought a lot of them, and I used to sell them to the guys at that cost price because I regard it was so important to protect the eyes. And they were polycarbonate. They were fairly inexpensive. They did the job, but polycarbonate is a little bit prone to dust and sand, and when you're cleaning them, you get scratches on them. And so I went for tempered glass, rather more expensive, and I sent for this type of eye protection from the United States. These are gargoyles, and as I say, they're tempered glass, and they don't scratch. I've been wearing these for many, many years, and obviously these things are useful if you're going from the range to the classroom and so on. You can just drop them, and they hang there. So gargoyles I wore for a very well. Still, they are my eye protection. A point that was made very, very clear to me by Masayub was the importance of other aspects of eye protection. If you're on a crowded firing line, empty cases are being ejected. Now, it's probably not the cases from your own weapon. They tend to miss you, but from a joining weapon. And they can come in. And if you get an empty case down the back of your collar, it burns and it's quite painful, but you should be able to withstand it. You should be able to tolerate it without any sign at all. It's not that bad. However, if an empty case, and I'll demonstrate on Hammerhead here, if an empty case comes over and drops within your eye protection, it won't be able to escape. It'll be in your eye socket, and anything that threatens the eyes causes an immediate and instinctive aversion. You turn away from it. Where the head goes, the body follows, and you've got a live weapon. So it's very, very dangerous. So what Mossad emphasizes is that you should always wear a baseball cap or pea cap, and cases then can't drop into your behind the eye protection because of the peak of the cap. So that's a very, very important point. Another important point is that if you're an instructor, you're walking along the line a lot and moving about, and you're not always square on to the targets. And cases or any fragmentation or ricochets that come back, generally, if you're facing the target, they're going to be intercepted. But if you're side on, it can be open here. So gargoyles produce these additional side shields which clip on to the frames of the eye protection. So from the side, they will deflect anything coming in. So that's a useful addition. And one of my friends in the United States gave me these, and very, very useful thing. Or you can use completely wraparound eye protection, which is widely available. If you have to remove your eye protection on a range for to clean them, or if you've got something in your eye, for example, always stand with your back to the targets. That's just a little point. The danger of ricochets is from many, many sources, depending on the type of range you're on. Some of the sand traps, there's a lot of metal in them because of the bullets go into them, and there's a chance of getting stuff back. Some of the range furniture is metal, and you can get ricochets back off that. And sometimes if you're shooting on sort of assault course ranges, you're shooting multiple angles, and you can't predict which way or what is going to come back at you. So it's very, very important to take that into account. Now, steel targets are a concern of themselves. There are rules about shooting steel, distances and so on. There always are shooting steel very, very close up if it's shrouded by some Linotex material, rubber, with a gap in between. That the rubber will capture anything comes back. Some CQB houses are constructed that way, and you can put it on steel plates, but I haven't really encountered that much on many ranges. We tend to shoot bare steel, pepper poppers and gongs and things like that, plates. So it's a big concern, and it was brought sharply into focus to me by two things. One, I attended a lecture. I think it was the first time I went over to ILFE, and there was a lecture on steel targets by Bill Baruch, who was the range master at the Kennedy Space Center, and he consulted the scientists down there, who are literally rocket scientists, about the trajectory of ricochet material. And he told us that this stuff can come back 40 yards sometimes. So it's it can be a lot of a bigger danger area than we thought. And then a couple of years later in Florida, I was attending a night show. It was another ILFE, and Frank McBee ran it, who's a really good instructor down there. And we did a lecture portion, and then we had dinner, and we were waiting for the sun to go down because of an outdoor range. And I went to dinner with Frank. I knew him from previous courses and so on. And when we turned up at the range, loads more people had turned up to do the practical, and it was quite overwhelming. And Frank said to me, "Dan, would you mind not shooting and just helping me run this because there's so many people?" And I said, "Sure." So they had two firing lines at right angles, and they were shooting steel. And at night, you see the frag coming back, like meteors going through the sky, and it was impressive. And it showed, it was graphic, just what happens when you shoot steel. Obviously, it's the same in the daytime, but you just don't see it. You need really several sets of eye protection. These gargoyles, these are for daytime and outdoors bright, obviously, and these are for low light or indoors. So you need two different types really. And make sure that whatever you buy meets the relevant safety standards for impact resistance. In the United States, they have their set of standards, and we have ours over here. Okay, let's go on to another area, which off the firing line, a lot of bodyguards wear dark glasses for one reason or another. And, you know, your eyes, your observation is one of the main tools of the bodyguard, and you want to protect them and, you know, protect them from glare and so on, hence the dark glasses. If you're going to be wearing dark glasses, it seems to me, two birds, one stone, wear ballistic protection. And you're just gaining that as well. Another area is vehicle operations in hostile environments. If you're in a vehicle and gunfire, rocks, debris, anything comes through that windscreen, it can take your eye out, and it can make you non-combatant. Okay, may not kill you, but it'll take you out to fight. So any thing that can protect the eyes. So the driver and the car commander should be wearing ballistic eye protection in vehicles in those kind of situations. And it's useful to have these type as well, amber, for night driving. So you have all the choices, and usually the kind of products that are available now, and this actually I think is issued to the British Army, comes in a very nice kit. You've got your eye protection for bright sunlight, Afghanistan, so on, and then you've got amber in there, and you've got clear as well. And it's all in a nice pack, and you get all sorts of bits and pieces, cleaning cloths, and the retaining bands and so on. So you don't have to go and seek out different sets all the time. It usually comes like that, and the internet's full of them. You can get them easily. As I say, make sure that they are reputable and they're up to the proper standard, and you know, you're not buying cheap stuff made by slave labor in some workers' paradise. For tactical use, military and so on, you have this kind of thing. SWAT teams use them, and it's full wraparound capability, slightly larger area of protection. Nothing's going to drop in between them. It seals to the face basically, and if you're driving in open vehicles and things like that, that's the kind of thing you would need and you would use. And a friend of mine was on a team in Baghdad, and he was updating his medical training. He went to the med center, and he told me, he said, there's lots of guys in the beds there, and their faces are peppered with fragmentation, except for this area here where the goggles were. And it really brings home how important eye protection is. And another thing is these are more wraparound type, as I mentioned before. You don't need the side shields, but they also have prescription inserts. So if you need prescription lenses, then they can clip in to ballistic eye protection quite easily. You need cleaning materials to keep them clean. Again, our vision, particularly when you're shooting, you need to be able to see very clearly. A chap who was in our shooting group worked in an optician's, and he gave me a whole load of a special cleaning cloth that had no lint in, and it was great. I think I've still got some somewhere. Really good for cleaning. But you can get little fluids and little cleaning cloths and so on. Keep them immaculate. And the final point is for range training, we always have a med pack. Make sure you have material for eye injuries. You have eye pads and you have stuff to irrigate the eyes and so on. So that's it, really. There's a lot of material out there. There's a lot of products available. I'll put a link to gargoyles, and but that's only one product. There's many, but whatever you do, if you're on any kind of firearms activity, wear eye protection. It can save your eyesight, and the only issue is with one set.